If you are trying to eat a little cleaner, but you're craving a big fat Italian sub, this chopped salad is gonna be your best friend. Turkey, salami, provolone, spicy pepper relish. It's even got the garlic Parmesan croutons and a homemade balsamic vinaigrette that ties it all together. This recipe has all the flavors of a Jersey Mike's Italian sub, but with more green stuff and less bread. For the full ingredient list, check the description box below, but enough talking, let's get cooking. So before we make the actual salad, we only need to make two things. The first thing is going to be a balsamic vinaigrette. So we're going to go as easy as possible. We're going to make the balsamic vinaigrette inside the jar, and it's going to have a lot of the ingredients that you would see on top of an Italian sub. So for this vinaigrette, we're going to go to a 1-to-1 oil to a vinegar ratio. So this is really going to reduce the oil and really bump up the vinegar flavor of it. Because generally when you're putting it on top of a sub, it's like half oil, half vinegar. I'm going to use the markings that are right on the jar. So here we're going to put a half a cup of some olive oil. And we are going to split vinegar. So we're going to go half balsamic, half red wine vinegar. I think both vinegars are great on a sandwich, so if we don't have to choose, we're gonna choose both. So going along with our whole sandwich theme, instead of a Dijon mustard, which I would normally put in a vinaigrette, I'm gonna use some spicy brown mustard. The spicy brown mustard is going to give a similar flavor to the vinaigrette that the Dijon mustard would, and it's going to bring its own uniqueness, but it's also going to do the same thing. It's going to emulsify this and bring the oil and vinegar all together. So now we're going to also put the juice of 1 lemon in. This is going to give a really nice, fresh, vibrant flavor. You know, lemon's acid, but it's also great flavor, and I think this really is a nice, bright thing to bring to this sub salad sandwich. Or scub sandwich salad. And now for a little sweetness, we're going to put in a little honey. So I've seen like hot honey on top of sandwiches. I'm sure some honey on top of some turkey would be delicious. So we're just gonna add a little bit of that for some sweetness. If you're trying to keep your sugar low, maybe you don't want to use the honey and you want to skip it, or maybe you want to use a non-nutritive sugar substitute, those would all work too. Sometimes I use maple syrup if I want to go natural, but like not honey. A lot of times people sprinkle oregano on top of an Italian sub. Here we're going to go Italian seasoning, which does have oregano in it, plus a few other things. So that'll really bring out the flavor of this vinaigrette. We just need a little bit. And lastly, we're going to season it up with a little salt and some fresh ground black pepper. One of the great parts about making this in the jar is that we don't even have to take out any utensils. Just got one of these tight fitting lids, and we're gonna give this a nice shake. And just like that, all nice and mixed, we're gonna let this sit out at room temperature for at least 20 minutes to let the salt dissolve, let the herbs bloom their flavors into the oil and vinegar, and let just everything come together. The next thing we're gonna make is some freezer croutons, and why I call them freezer croutons is I reach in the freezer and I see what kind of bread's in there, and whatever I got in there, that's what I'm using to make the croutons. This is one of the buns from our how to make a low-calorie cheeseburger episode. I'll throw a link right up there if you wanna click on that. But this is like a low-calorie, fluffy, light, like white bread-like bun. This is the perfect thing to make croutons with. I took this out of the freezer a little while ago. Bread thaws so quickly at room temperature. You just take it out and within 10 minutes, this thing was already soft. So even if it's a little frozen, I don't care. We're gonna cut this into cubes, we're gonna season it, and we're gonna throw it in the air fryer. So using my bread knife, I'm gonna cut this up into little chunks. Any bread makes a great crouton, and I think the whole idea behind croutons was to take the bread that was either in the freezer or was already going bad and do something with it. Making croutons is absolutely ideal. This bread too also kind of goes along with the whole like, let's make it more low calorie, because this is a low calorie burger bun. And here I'm just using my bread knife to cut them into small little crouton sized chunks. And I'm trying not to smush the bread, making sure that I'm using nice, gentle pressure and not squish it. That's the whole idea behind even using the bread knife. Because if I use my regular chef's knife, in fact, I think I can make this even into two. Perfect. I would always cut croutons too large. Then when I would examine like the croutons I would like best when going to a restaurant, they were always small croutons. So these days I'm cutting my croutons a little smaller. So now we're gonna take this cut up bun, we're gonna throw it inside of a bowl. And now we're gonna season it with just 3 things. First up is gonna be some olive oil. I like to move the bowl around as I put the olive oil in there so it hits a little bit of each one of the croutons. And now we're gonna put some of my base seasoning. This is a blend of garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper. Well, it's not garlic and onion powder. I keep saying that in a lot of my videos. It's granulated garlic and a granulated onion. But for me, I've always been saying garlic powder since I was a little kid, and it's hard to change that to granulated garlic and granulated onion. Next, we're gonna throw in some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. I like to pre-grate this and just put this inside of a jar so it's always ready to use. Now we're gonna give that a toss so these are all nice and well coated, and I'm trying not to smash the really soft bread. It's crazy how fast that bread defrosted. It goes from completely solid to very soft in maybe 10-15 minutes. So now we're gonna take that, we're gonna put this on this baking tray, we're gonna spread these out. I'm gonna try not to put too much of like the cheese crumbles on the bottom that didn't stick to it. I'm gonna give this a nice spread out, and we're gonna put this inside the toaster oven style air fryer at 350 for like 5-10 minutes, just until they're nice and hard on the outside. If you don't have an air fryer, or you don't want to do this in the air fryer, you want to do it in the oven, I would do it at the same temperature. So like 325, 350, so a little lower, but not so high that they're gonna get burnt, but they're definitely gonna toast up a little bit. So now I'm gonna throw these in there for about like 5 or 10 minutes. Periodically, I will shake them around, check them until they are nice, toasted, and crispy on the outside. So these croutons are nice and toasted. You can see that this crouton is nice, golden, and crispy. You'll know when it gets to the right color. We definitely don't want to burn them. We just want them a little toasted, and we want them to cool. So I'm just gonna leave them on this baking tray while I prepare my salad, so it'll be nice and cool and crunchy when we throw them on top. So now let's start building our salad. We're gonna do it right on top of the cutting board. This is half the fun of making these chopped salads. Here I'm going with a green leaf lettuce. So this is a stiffer, crunchier lettuce. It's similar to like an iceberg lettuce, which you could totally use for this salad. In fact, that's what most of the time when you get an Italian sub, it's shredded iceberg lettuce. So we're gonna use something that's got a similar texture to it, but I think it's just a little nicer. So next up, we're gonna put in some freshly sliced deli turkey. You know, this is where the customization comes in, because how much turkey you want, how much of the other ingredients you want, that's totally up to you. You know, when I'm making this, I'm trying to eat a little cleaner. I'm also trying to eat high protein. So the turkey is where the protein is gonna come in. So we're gonna put a nice amount of turkey in here. Now we're gonna put in some salami. So I like this brand, the Negroni brand. I think they make really nice Italian deli style products that are nitrate free, or at least lower in like the artificial nitrates. And for some reason, I think that's an important thing for me. So I like to avoid it. So we'll put a little bit of that in there. Next up is gonna be some provolone cheese. So the person at the deli counter did not do a good job of slicing this into nice rings, but we're making a chopped salad, so that's okay. We'll put a little bit of cheese in there. Cheese is where you can really go overboard with the calories, so use a little bit, but not too much. Now we're gonna put in a little sliced tomato. So I just like to slice the tomato from the bottom, and I'll just take a couple slices and just throw it right on top, because again, we're gonna chop this all up all together. This is great too, because I wouldn't want the bottom piece on my sandwich, but I don't mind it inside of a chopped salad. Now we're gonna put in a little red onion. You know, red onion I always use a little bit at a time, so I always seem to have a half a cut red onion in the fridge at all times. We're gonna take just one big nice slice of that and throw that right on top as well. Now come these sandwich toppers. So here I'm gonna take some pepperoncini. These are whole pepperoncini, so it doesn't matter if things are pre-sliced, we're chopping it all up all together. So these are the whole pepperoncini. So here I got some hot pepper deli relish spread. I love this condiment, and this is a condiment you really only see in like sub sandwich places. It is so good, and it really makes this sandwich for me. It is a little spicy, so maybe you want to leave that out, but for me, I absolutely adore this ingredient. So these are the whole pepperoncini. So what I like to do is, this one's a little ripped, so I'm gonna just pull the top off of this, because I think these stems, you're not supposed to eat them. They are a little bit woody. And then if it has any of the seeds inside, this one didn't have much, so this one's okay. but sometimes the seeds are pretty heavy inside of these and I'll take those out. So you can see like this one's got a lot of seeds in it, so I will just take the extra step and just push a couple of these out. Sometimes when you pull the stem, the seeds come right along with it, so you don't have to do that step. We're gonna hold off on adding this until we chop our salad. So now what I'll do is, just with my chef's knife, I'm just gonna go over it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You definitely wanna make sure your knife is sharp enough, but I'm just gonna keep working this over, pushing it all back together until it gets to the chopped consistency that I like. And how I like to do it is I'll go one way and then the other way while I push it all together. So I'll go one way, this way, and once it gets down to some smaller pieces, I start aiming for the big pieces. Take that, give that a mix. And chopping, when you remove the knife from the cutting board, the position's always gonna be hand on top of the knife, because if it's on top of the knife, it is outside of the cut zone. And the other one, just take a nice firm grip, and I'm just going straight down on there. Don't put your hand here, and while you're lifting the knife, you're very likely to give yourself a quick trip to the emergency room. I think I'm just gonna go one more chop on this, and that's really about it. And I'm just aiming for any big pieces, like that tomato. And I don't see any really large chunks. I think this is pretty good. And now we're gonna take this and we're gonna put this inside of a large bowl. So, and now let's add some condiments just like we would on the sandwich. We're gonna start off with that deli spread. And I absolutely love this. This is like chopped peppers with like vinegar. It's pickled, it's spicy, it's absolutely delicious. This is one of my favorite things to put on almost any kind of sandwich. So now we're gonna throw in some mayo. I got a little bit in each jar, so I think this is gonna be just enough for this sandwich, salad, sandwich, whatever it is. Using every last drop out of these mayos. So now let's take some of that balsamic vinaigrette that we made before and put a couple spoonfuls on that. And we don't need a lot too, because the mayo and the relish are also going to act in part of a dressing, so it's really going to bump up the volume of what we're putting on here that's dressing it. So now I'll give this a mix, and I like to just push the mayo around so it spreads out nice and evenly. I probably could have put the mayo right inside the vinaigrette, but sometimes I don't want to do that and I want to put mayo in the vinaigrette, so I just keep it separate and put it on after. Once that is all nice and mixed, let's get this into a salad bowl. And now a couple of these croutons. And now how amazing does this sub sandwich salad look? This looks so good. I am so excited to try it. What I like about the whole chopped salad format is that when you eat a salad, especially with this many ingredients, it's hard to get a little bit of everything on one bite. Once you chop it up, I think this is what the chopped salad places already knew, like chopped. They chop the salad for you because you get a little bit in each bite, and it is kind of like a superior way to eat a salad. A lot of fine dining restaurants do that, where they'll take the salad, they will chop it up, and then you get a little bit of everything in one bite, and that's what you were after the whole time with every dish. Let's take a nice big spoonful of this. I mean, we already got a little bit of everything. Let's make sure that there's our crouton right on the top, but this looks absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to try this. This is gonna be an epic bite. That's just too good. I mean, it's hard to call this even a salad, because this tastes exactly like an Italian sub. I absolutely love this. Everything about this screams Italian sub. Maybe if you're not from the Northeast, because I think that's where they probably make the best Italian subs. But I know Jersey Mike's locations are now everywhere across the country, so everybody gets a little bit of this goodness. But this is so, so, so good. A lot of times I've seen this recipes with like toasted chickpeas, but I don't think that does it like the croutons. You really don't got to use too many. It's not too much bread. Then this is maybe a half of a hamburger bun. So this is absolutely fantastic. And with a recipe like this, feel free to make it your own, just like you do a sandwich. Put whatever you want on it. A lot of times when I don't have the pepperoncini, I also put pickles on this. So, you can make it however you'd like and put whatever dressings you like and just make it like a sandwich that you like. But this is the way that I love it. And if we had this for dinner, I get super excited, even though I made it myself. I'm gonna eat the rest of this salad for lunch. While I'm doing that, subscribe to my channel, get the notification bell on. If you like this video, hit like. And if you're into sandwiches turned into salads, check out my Big Mac salad. That is a really awesome recipe that if you love this one, you're gonna love that. I'll see you there. Bye.